After World War II, were there some refugees that survived that needed a place to go? There were. But there was immigration legislation even in the United States that discriminated against Jewish people coming into our country. Policymakers in Allied countries were apprehensive to assume responsibility for the fate of these Jewish refugees that survived. Nobody wanted them. Okay? So at the time, worldwide anti-Semitism had set in, which affected immigration legislation in the United States. Policymakers in these Allied countries that were victorious in Europe were apprehensive to assume responsibility for the fate of those Jewish refugees that survived. Finally, late in World War II, and remember World War II doesn't officially end until the bombing of Japan, the American State Department finally allowed 21,000 Jewish refugees to enter the United States. 21,000, that's not very many. So late in World War II, the American State Department finally allowed 21,000 Jewish refugees to enter the United States. Now, that didn't mean the United States didn't try to help, because President Roosevelt established something, you don't really have to write this down, called the War Refugee Board, which helped move more than 200,000 European Jews to safe havens in other countries, but we really didn't want them in our country. Okay? So Roosevelt tried to get them placed, but not in the United States, yeah?
You know what I find kind of ironic about Germany? They had these Holocaust camps and they were doing all this stuff to the Jews, and then Russia was actually doing something very similar, not only to their own people, but they were going to the Baltic states such as like Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, and even parts of Finland, and deporting them to prisons throughout Soviet Russia and doing very similar
things.
Labor camps. And Germany actually went to help them because they didn't think that what Russia was doing
Was right.
Yeah.
No, it's crazy. Discrimination is so crazy. We'll even talk about this. Way back, Jack Ruby, the man that shot Lee Harvey Oswald, was Jewish. And he changed his name from Jacob Rubenstein to Jack Ruby because he could not get a job anywhere because he was Jewish. That's how he got the name Jack Ruby. He wasn't even born Jack Ruby. So even in 1940 and 50 and 60, you had people discriminating against Jewish people. Okay? So it didn't end with that. But Roosevelt made an effort. He helped establish a war refugee board that moved more than 200,000 European Jews to safe havens in other countries. But they really didn't want them in our country. Yeah.
They said that a lot of the Jews that came out of the camps died like in the next week because they all went and like ate so much
That's
food that
right.
their bodies weren't used to it, so they died overeating.
Yeah, and that's why the wrestlers shouldn't have that contest of who can gain the most weight after wrestling season's over. All right, I got a little assignment for you here that ties in with this, and we'll just do it the rest of the period. You should be able to get it done. I want you to read through this lecture I have, The War Against the Jews. I want you to read through this. It kind of sums up the Holocaust to a point. And I just want you to write a paragraph on your opinion of what this is saying, or just your viewpoints on what this is saying, the war against the Jews. It's going to give you some information that you might have a hard time believing, but I want you just to read through this, and I want you to give an opinion on a separate piece of paper that you'll staple on there with your name that just states what your opinion is about the statistics that are being given to you in this reading. Then, what we'll do is you'll do your AP assignments tomorrow, and then we will have a lecture on Monday, a pretty short lecture on Monday, a review on Monday, and a test on Tuesday. We kind of plan on that, okay? So we'll finish about a 10-minute lecture on Monday, give you a quick review of the test, and have the test on Tuesday, okay? Does that throw anybody crazy? Okay, we'll work on these assignments, and they'll be due at the end of the period. Okay? I want to get your opinion on what that is saying.